Well, welcome. Glad you all stopped by as you were doing your traveling. You're interested in some tales of the West since you're traveling west? Well, great. You see, I've done a little traveling myself, and I've heard a few tales, and I've told a few tales. As a matter of fact, it's gotten so much that I'm not sure where the tale ends and the tall tale begins. So just sit back, relax, let me mitigate that pain of traveling. And as my old ramrod Rowdy Yates used to say, if you got 'em, smoke 'em. This tale starts down on the Arkansas-Texas border. And this settler, he knew he didn't want to live in Iowa because of the smells. And so he was down in Arkansas-Texas border, walked in and said, "Ma, pack up, we gotta move." She said, "Honey, why?" "We got a new neighbor." "Yeah?" "Neighbors are too damn close. They're just 5 miles away. We gotta move where we get some room." So Ma started to load up the kids, and they had about 10 kids, because back then, you all had a lot of kids, because you just never knew who was going to survive and who wasn't. And they started to head west Texas. They had this one baby, kind of special, Bill. How special was he, you might ask? How special? Since you asked, Bill could speak when he was only 1 month old. Now that kind of makes sense, because we know those folks down in Texas, they speak too much and too often. Well, Bill, not only could he speak at 1 month, but he could ride a horse as soon as he could be sitting up. And Bill had a reputation of being able to ride just about anything. So they loaded up the kids in that wagon. They started heading west, trying to find some room where they could grow. And they got to this river. Now, if y'all ever been around a kid or a bunch of kids, there's always that one, and you may be him or her, that when the parents say, "Get down," he stands up and looks around, and they're crossing the river, and Bill stands up and looks around while all the other kids are napping, and he bounces right out of the wagon, falls in the river, and he's riding that river right on down. Now remember, he's just an infant, so Bill had to teach himself how to swim real fast. Otherwise, he was a goner. Well, when you have 10, 12 kids, you don't miss one. So Bill was just kind of swept away and taught himself to swim, and that was the Pecos River, and that's why we call him Pecos Bill, to differentiate him from those other Bills, like that Wild Bill guy up north and that Buffalo Bill guy. So about the time that he got out of the river, was drying himself off and trying to figure out what he was going to do, along comes old Mama Wolf. And Mama Wolf, she only had a pack of about 4 or 5 cubs, and she said, "What the heck? Let's go ahead and take one more." For about the next 15 years, old Pecos Bill lived with the wolves. And he's howling, and he's running around chasing all them little critters and varmints and just having a good old time. And then about 15 years later, along come this cowpoke pushing a herd of Texas Longhorns, and it happened to be Bill's older brother, Brother Bob. And Brother Bob looked over and said, "Hey, you're my brother. You're Pecos Bill." He said, "Not me. I'm a wolf." He said, "You're my brother," he says, "because you look like Ma." So, "I'm a wolf. I got fleas, and I howl like the moon." Now, Brother Bob said, "Bill, we're in Texas. All of us have fleas, and if you give us enough whiskey, we all howl like the moon." And Bill wondered. He said, and started scampering around, started messing up the herd of Longhorns. And Brother Bob said, "Now, Bill, you stop that. If you're going to mess around with the cows, you ought to come be a cowboy with me and learn how to herd them. Besides, you can't be a wolf. Where's your old butchy tail?" Old Pecos Bill said, "Well, I don't have one." He said, "That's right, you don't. And you speak American real good." So with that, Pecos Bill decided to join his brother Bob, and he became a cowboy. And after a couple months, he started to learn the ropes, what it really meant to be a cowboy. And notice that them other cowboys were having problems because they got them herd of cattle over here and started to mess up with that herd of cattle over here, and all of a sudden the owners didn't know who owned what. So that's why Bill invented the branding iron. That wasn't the only thing he did to help out the other cowboys. See, you get a bunch of longhorns together, they can get a little rambunctious, kind of like a bunch of Toastmasters getting ready for Thanksgiving. And sure enough, as they got rambunctious, old Bill would just hop on one of the mean ones, just start bucking it around, riding it. And because remember, Bill had a reputation of being able to ride just about anything. But you see, them other cowboys didn't have that skill. So that's why Bill had to invent the lariat and the lasso to give them the tools to handle the cows. Well, about that time, old brother Bob and Pecos Bill decided to take a herd of longhorns up from Texas, decided to go to the big city of Wichita, Kansas, and sell their cattle to them folk so they could ship it off to that Chicago city and make them big money. Now, Bill is about a man full grown about now, and the thing he really wants at the end of a long cattle drive is two things. He wants whiskey and he wants women. But them folk over there in Wichita said, we don't have no red light district like you think. So let's send you down the road. Just go over here to Derby, Kansas. Because them women and the whiskey are both smooth and sweet. And that's when Bill learned that some folk are telling tall tales. Because he got to Derby, Kansas, got to that bar, had that first shot of whiskey, and it was rough and harsh, and the women were rougher and harsher. But I tell you what, Bill had a reputation for being able to ride just about anything. And that helped, because about that time along comes a twister, and it's a blowing, about to knock the whole town down. And so Bill just grabbed his saddle, threw it on that twister, lassoed it down, started riding it around, turning it this way, turning it that way, rode it out west until it just rode itself down into the ground. And all that was left was that little old ditch called the Grand Canyon. And so Bill needed to come on back, hook up with his brother Bob. So he just threw his saddle on a mountain line, started to head on back east, and it turned out that the engines were on the war path. They all painted up, and it was just terrible. But he rode so fast around this way, rode so fast around that way, a hooping and a hollering. The engines thought they were surrounded, and he just scared them right out of their war paint, right out of their redskins. And you know that spot when you head out west, it's called that Painted Desert. So, folk, I thank you for stopping by my store today. So when you continue your travels, you head out west, you will see a few things that my friend Pecos Bill left us. Mr. Coach.